I think a lot of families get very focused, in particular, on the media policy.
You're getting into really dangerous water when you start talking about people's screens, like TVs, computer games, phones.
I don't want my kid to be babysat by the television set. And we had a lot of friends who it turned out they were totally fine with that.
I heard a rumor that the kids cannot have watched TV or movies, or you can't even get into Waldorf.
The stereotypes, the negative things I hear from people who usually have no idea, and they just feel like we're being sheltered too much.
I don't know what the right answer is to that. I mean, it's impossible not to have your kid exposed to it by a certain age.
The Star Wars Ultimate
7.5 hours a day is the national average of direct screen exposure, and 2 of indirect. It takes it up to 9.5.
These children are so much like sponges and so totally soak up every single sound, sight.
And they're inundated with adult imagery.
If you're paying attention to what's on television, most of it is sarcastic, cynical, or hurtful.
I mean, where did she find that outfit? Like Ugly Are Us?
More like Ugly Are Her.
You can see the effect of media and internet and email and texting just in our own lives. It's portrayed as, liberating as we're connecting the world, but in fact, I think it does the opposite.
As a doctor, I've spent a lot of time looking at the research on media and children's exposure to media, and what I've seen has been very concerning to me. What I understand in brain science, I can see that media does interfere with the children's ability to attend, that there's some association between attention deficit disorder and early exposure to media.
In the first 7 years of life, these finer energies that the child needs to build up a healthy body are interfered with when you use media.
Media is saying, television, screen media is saying to a child hundreds of times a day, you are not good enough without this product.
The durable, kid-friendly LeapPad learning tablet with built-in camera and video recorder is here.
When the children are very involved in media, they have all of these perceptions floating around inside their minds that are distracting their ability to think. And they aren't able to concentrate.
The more television infants and toddlers watch, the greater the chance they'll have trouble paying attention and concentrating during their very early school years.
Now, new research finds video games may have a similar effect.
The average 11 to 12-year-old takes just on 4 seconds to take an image. They were talking about screens and images, to take an image and go through a process and make meaning of it. 4 seconds, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. That's a long time, right? One image.
When they go out to recess, they're playing out the imagery. It's a TV show or a movie they've seen, whatever it is, it's playing through their mind, and they're acting it out to try and process it.
A child has very fine vibrations. These wonderful abilities they have, they just start to make them their own and put them into their brains.
So stick with us, 'cause Phineas and Ferb are gonna...
And now you bring much denser vibration. Media is fairly dense. Why would we do that?
Some people say, well, what about PBS nature specials? That's all we watch. You watch PBS nature specials and it's like nature on steroids. Little boy sitting down the creek watching a frog, that's boring, right? Everything is heightened, and more and more and more so.
Children don't think like adults. They need this vivid, imaginative approach. What Waldorf education tries to do is keep these doors open.
We're trying to create an atmosphere and an inner freedom in the inner life of the child where they're open, receptive, focused, not distracted, to learn.
Letting children make the world that they want when they're young, with the fairies and the gnomes and the imagination and creativity, that you don't necessarily have to turn on the TV and be like, this is what reality is.
You know, just when you have a certain approach to the way you want your kids kind of brought up, what you want them exposed to, you know, the notion of preserving childhood was something we had inherent in us, and that's where I think what this is all about.
Our children, when they come here, are allowed to be children. Right? They're not being hurried along to be some grown-up version of themselves.
That's so cute. I would seriously wear that. Thanks. Be brats.
There's not some figure out there that's going to tell me this is how I have to live, this is how I have to think, this is how I have to pursue my beliefs in the world. To not feel that you have to right away put on a mask, which is given to you by all those images that are out there, because you don't know who you are.
That they can come to school free and open and interested and not preoccupied with all of this stimulus that's been put into them.
It's sort of trying to help a child grow more by giving them less, you know, by presenting them less stimulus in terms of ways to think, and more just sort of enabling them to unfold on their own.
We wanted our children to be in an environment where they were very engaged with the people around them, not necessarily with the computers that they were using to learn things. And we wanted, in our home, we wanted to have our kids, you know, maybe we're selfish, we wanted our kids engaged with us.
Dear Governor Brown, my name is Alexandra Franz-Cohn. My friends and teacher and I went on a field trip to Malakoff Diggins.
What I've found with my children, once you turn off the television, they learn to occupy themselves in a number of really positive and creative ways. Whether it's drawing or reading or building, there's just a number of ways, playing creatively, that they foster their own development and their own learning.
I love that we come up with creative games to play outside. I love that my daughter Molly, because there's no TV to watch or no games to play on an iPhone, has become a really good backgammon player.
It's not the currency that they are passing back and forth between themselves. It's not cool to have watched American Idol on Monday nights or whatever night it's on.
It didn't factor into the school culture in the way that it does, I think, at other schools, and I think that's a good thing.
Setting boundaries and setting policies and kind of putting it in the context of where it should be, you know, in their lives, in our society, you know, I think that's important. And I don't think you get that, you know, outside of Waldorf.
It's thrilling to see how many parents are becoming conscious of this now.
When I look into the modern research, it is a very exciting place because it is as if a dark blanket has been lifted.
And the only thing you have to do is turn off the television, and you don't have to do anything more, and have some other things for them to do. And they do it for themselves.
I knew that there was a bigger world out there, and I wanted to experience it, but my feeling is that you don't really need to experience that big, harsh world when you're so young. You have the whole rest of your life to do it, and I'm full in it now at 26. But to be able to have had a little sheltering from it, you know, from mass media, from TV, and all the ugliness or fast-paced or too much technology, the way kids are on iPhones at 2 years old. Like, you have the rest of your life to be on an iPhone, the rest of your life to be obsessed with consumer goods and everything else. Like, why not just truly cherish your childhood?